following takes place between 11:14 a.m. and 11:18 a.m. Events occur in real time. Hello, recruits. It's me, Special Agent Jack Bow Wow. I'm here in the headquarters of the top secret organization known as Q-Tip. Q-Tip stands for Questionable Training in Progress. As my personal recruits, I feel it is my responsibility to clue you in on some of the things that have been happening here. It seems that our nemesis, our enemy, Dr. Fullowax, has continued to cause all kinds of problems for Q-Tip. I've been accused of allowing him to be one step ahead of us at all times. Not only did he infiltrate our computer system with a dangerous virus, but he also has done many other things to foil our plans as well. Well, I thought we needed to do something to help us catch up to Dr. Fullowax. You know how Dr. Fullowax has his little Mr. Cuddles? Well, I thought I should send one of my assistants to the store to get me a pet sidekick as well.
Excuse me, Agent Bow Wow, I have returned from the pet store.
Wonderful. Did you get me a pet sidekick?
Yes, I did.
Perfect. And it's ferocious looking, right?
Well,
is it something that's going to make me look tough? You know, a snivering, snarling, drooling, flea-bitten, eight-legged, little old lady scaring, coupon-cutting, red light running, rotten, prinkled, wrinkled, stinkified varmint?
Okay, here's the thing.
Just show me what you got.
Yes, sir. It's right over here. Ta-da!
You got me an Easter bunny? That's what you bought?
But it's so cute and fluffy, and I called it Chloe.
I didn't want cute and fluffy. Let me see it. Okay. How's that look?
Aww.
What do you mean, aw? Listen, I sent you to the store with enough money to buy an extinct dinosaur, and what you brought me back was a white, fluffy Easter bunny? Here, take that back. At least tell me how much money you had left.
Well...
Surely you had some money left. I sent you with so much. Tell me you didn't spend all of it.
I spent it all.
All of the money? Listen, you're going to have to go back and get your money back because that is not going to work for my sidekick.
Yes, sir.
Oh, well, one thing is for sure. That little white bunny is not worth the amount of money that he paid for it. I'm not willing to pay that much money for a little white bunny. How do you determine what something is worth? How do you know if the price is right? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be learning about in our training today. You're not going to be learning about fluffy white bunnies, that's for sure. Everybody knows that's not what Easter is really all about. Instead, you are going to be learning exactly what happened to Jesus 3 days after he was crucified on a cross. I'll give you a hint. It is something worth celebrating. Now, as usual, I may have to contact you throughout the day. So you just keep your satellites tuned in to this frequency, and I'll break in when necessary. Well, time is of the essence. It's time for you to get into your training. This is Special Agent Jack Bow Wow, signing off.
Wow, what an incredibly packed 24 hours of life Jesus had. We've started with the Last Supper, then we went to the Garden of Gethsemane, then Jesus was arrested and tried, and ultimately he was nailed on the cross and he died. We have learned so much from the last 24 hours of Jesus' life, and we're not done yet. When we last left Jesus, he had just died on the cross. He chose to do this. He knew it was the only way to pay the price for our sins. Once he died, everyone stood around crying. They thought Jesus had failed because he died. They didn't realize what was to come. Jesus had a plan all along. The soldiers took the body of Jesus off the cross. His body was prepared for burial and placed in a borrowed tomb. Then a large stone was rolled in front of the tomb. This was done to prevent any of the disciples from stealing his body and claiming that he had risen from the dead. Jesus had predicted that he would rise after 3 days. 3 days later, that is exactly what happened. God raised Jesus from the dead. an angel rolled away the stone from the tomb, and Jesus walked out alive. A few hours later, some women came to the tomb to anoint Jesus' body with some perfume. Guess what they found? Jesus' body wasn't there, only his grave clothes that had been taken off. Suddenly, angels appeared, and angels appeared to the women and told them, "Why are you looking for Jesus? He isn't here. He is risen from the dead." The women went to find the disciples and tell them the good news. Over the next few days, Jesus appeared many times to the disciples and gave them important instructions. Then he rose up into the clouds all the way to heaven, where he is today, preparing a place for all Christians to one day meet him and spend eternity. What an amazing story! Jesus died, but he rose again. And that is why we celebrate Easter. In your lesson today, you're going to learn why Jesus chose to die and rise again. You're going to learn about how he paid the price for our lives. It's going to be amazing.
Well, children, it is I, Dr. Full of Wax, and I'm back with another secret message from Q-Tip's code book, the Bible. I shall discover and decipher its true meanings. Isn't that right, Mr. Cuddles? This week's secret message says, "You do not belong to yourself, for God bought you with a high price." 1 Corinthians 6:19 and 20. This is quite the conundrum. I have an interesting idea. Perhaps if we have the boys help us say it, the message will become clearer to me. All right, boys, on the count of 3, you will stand. Are you ready? 1, 2, and 3. You do not belong to yourself, for God bought you with a high price. 1 Corinthians 6:19 and 20. Very good, boys. Now you may have a seat. Now I need the girls to stand up and help me say it, okay? Then maybe I can figure out what the secret message means. Ready, girls? Down, Mr. Cuddles. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. You do not belong to yourself, for God bought you with a high price. 1 Corinthians 6:19 and 20. Great job. You may sit down. No, lickies, Mr. Cuddles. Remember, you're still rabid. You could make Daddy sick. You know, I think I may have figured out what this message means. You see, Dr. Full of Wax is at a crossroads. Being evil takes its toll on a genius such as myself. And reading through this code book has really changed the way I look at things. I've even considered possibly contacting Agent Bow Wow to see if he would forgive me and take me into the team at Q-Tip. And after reading this last code, I think it means that Jesus paid the price for all our sins, even me. And because of him, I can be forgiven. Maybe Agent Bow Wow would forgive me just like Jesus? I think I may have solved it, Mr. Cuddles, but just to make sure, I got to have everyone say it with me one last time. Ready, everybody? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. You do not belong to yourself, for God bought you with a high price. 1 Corinthians 6:19 and 20. Good job, everybody. You can have a seat. Well, Agent Bow Wow, looks like I cracked your code and learned something that would make me a better person. Nah, I better get back to trying to crack Q-Tip's code book, the Bible. Until next time, I'm Dr. Full of Wax, and this is Mr. Cuddles bidding you adieu.
Hello again, recruits. It's me, Jack. Well, by now you've already heard about how Jesus rose from the dead. What you may not know is the story behind the story. You are about to find out why Jesus died on the cross and rose from the dead. The cool part is, it was just for you. Your leader is going to teach you a lesson called The Price is Right. You're going to learn just how much your life is worth to God. Here's a hint. It's a lot more than you think. So pay attention and listen carefully. It could change your life. This is Special Agent Jack Bow Wow, signing off.
Imagine that you're wanting to buy something really cool for Easter. Maybe it's a giant chocolate bunny or an Easter basket filled with candy. Imagine you walk up to the register to pay and you pull out some of these. Do you think the cashier would let you pay with eggs? Of course not. You would obviously have to use money. Money is the only thing you can use to pay the price, right? Well, did you know that there is something besides money that was used to pay the highest price in the world? It's true. Do you want to know what it is? Okay, here it is. It's a cross. A cross was used to pay the highest price ever. Now let me explain. Sin costs a high price. The Bible is clear that each of us are guilty of sin. If we were in a courtroom of life, we would have no choice but to plead guilty. Romans 3:23 says, "For all have sinned." That means you and me. Because we all have sinned, and it only takes being guilty of one sin to deserve death and hell forever. That's what Romans 6:23 teaches us. For the wages of sin is death. That is such a huge price. One sin and the price is death and hell forever. That is not good. But God never wanted that for us. That's why he sent his son Jesus to come to earth. Jesus lived his life without sin, even though he was innocent. He was arrested, convicted, and sentenced to death. The reason I showed you that cross earlier and said that it was used to pay the highest price is because Jesus paid the price for our sin. Even though we were the ones guilty of sin, Jesus chose to be nailed on the cross in order to pay the price of death for sin. He gave his life in our place. He paid the high price, and that price was right. The cool thing is, because of Jesus, I can be forgiven. 1 John 1:9 says, "But if we confess our sins to him, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all wickedness." That means that even though we had sin in our life, if we confess that sin to God and believe in the price that Jesus paid on the cross, then you and I can be forgiven. The sin that was in our lives is now gone. Jesus paid the price so that we could be forgiven. The best part of the whole story is this. Jesus died for us, but he didn't stay dead. 3 days later, he rose from the dead. Do you remember where he is right now? He's in heaven, preparing a beautiful place for us to live with him forever. What an amazing Easter story. Jesus paid the price, and that price is right.
What did they place in front of Jesus' tomb? A cross, a large stone, or a candy bar? The answer is a large stone.
How many days was Jesus dead? 1 day, 2 days, or 3 days? The answer is 3 days.
Who were the first to see that the tomb was empty? Some woman, Mary, or the disciples? The answer is some woman.
Who told the women that Jesus was alive? Jesus, angels, or some man? The answer is angels.
Where is Jesus today? In Africa, on a plane, or in heaven? The answer is in heaven.
According to our lesson, sin costs a what? High price, a whole lot, or a small payment? The answer is a high price.
According to our lesson today, blank paid the price for our sin. We, Jesus, or Ronald McDonald? The answer is Jesus.
According to our lesson, because of Jesus, I can be what? Robbed, helped, or forgiven? The answer is forgiven.
Where was our power verse found? 1 Corinthians 6:19 through 20, Ephesians 3:9, or Numbers 12:34? The answer is 1 Corinthians 6:19 through 20.